and welcome back. We are streaming live from the AWS Sydney Summit in the middle of the expo hall. My name is Nikki. I'm a senior technical evangelist at AWS. Probably see me all the time on Twitch. Today, we're actually going to be interviewing an engineer at AWS named Colm. Please introduce yourself.
My name's Colm. As you said, I'm a principal engineer at Amazon Web Services. Worked here for about just over 10 years. Worked on a bunch of services.
Right. That's a long time. So you got the red badge. So at Amazon, you get a red badge when you reach your 10 years. You've got one of those now?
I do have a red badge. And I went to visit the Boeing factory tour in Seattle, just north of Seattle and Everett.
You get a red badge? Like if you've
a red frame badge, yeah. Orange for 5 years and red for 10 years, and then some other colors for
I don't know what all
additional
the
years.
colors are. I think purple is the next one.
Right.
Is that at like 20?
Ooh,
Something
15.
like that, 15,
Oh, so
and
it's
then
every
there's
5
20. Yeah, it's like a
years.
black badge. You know, Jeff Bezos, of course, got that black badge.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And so you've actually played a number of roles over those last 10 years in terms of focusing on different services across Amazon as well?
Yeah, when I joined, I first worked on CloudFront, our CDN service, and then I worked on Route 53, our DNS service, and DNS services tend to get a lot of DDoS attacks, so then I got to work on our DDoS mitigation service for a while. And then I went and joined DC2 Networking, where I still am, and I work on VPC and load balancers and products like that, and I also get to work on encryption, which we do a lot of.
Yeah. Right, being an infrastructure guy, I'm really excited about the work we're doing with VPC, with in terms of transit gateway and with direct connect gateway VPC peering. Can you maybe talk a little bit about, if it's specific to VPC or other services, how do we operate and manage and maintain these services at scale? We're actually had a session just earlier on, where I was talking about how we always want to have these evolvable systems, all these services, where we're going to eliminate or minimize, typically eliminate downtime for our customers, right? We don't want to interrupt their business. So we've got to continue iterating and innovating on these services, but still keep it up. So can you give us some insights?
Yeah, so internally, Amazon VPC, which is Virtual Private Cloud, it's our software-defined networking solution, lets people have their own private data centers. It's actually built on top of many internal microservices. Right. So for example, we have a microservice that handles network mappings. So we've got these little mappings that let machines talk to one another. We've got microservices that help us distribute security groups. So whenever you want to enforce which boxes can talk to which other boxes, that goes to a separate microservice. And each microservice service is owned by different teams. And we've got teams building it that are in Cape Town, in Virginia, in Dublin, in Seattle, and they just each own their own little part.
Right.
And they use...
So it's completely distributed, right?
Yeah. It's a really well distributed system, and each team updates their own systems, they manage their own software deployments, and they pay a lot of attention and test it carefully, and there's still redundancy if things go wrong, and it seems to work pretty well.
Yeah, it's this concept of the two-pizza team that we have, right? Where you have these small, agile, distributed teams that really have complete ownership of that microservice, and that's what they really focus on, hence why they're single-threaded. So were you part of those two-pizza teams?
Yeah, I think most of the teams I've been a part of, I would say they were two-pizza teams. You know, when we built Amazon CloudFront, there were about 10 of us at the time of launch. It was a very similar number for Amazon Route 53. That's about the same number of people could eat 2 pizzas. And we got to own everything. You know, we got to own building the service, we got to own running the service, and we had a really important say in what the name should be, what the price should be, all of these things. We had real meaningful ownership of the whole thing.
We have a live question from chat. Olivie says, tell us some war stories from Amazon when things didn't go well.
One of my favorite examples that I used to reference is actually way back in 2008. Just as I joined Amazon Web Services, we had our kind of first big operational event, which was an S3 outage. And at the time, we only had one region, and S3 went down for quite a while. And it turned out the problem was due to a single device somewhere in our network was actually corrupting traffic, and that problem spread, and we ended up having to re-architect that part of S3 and add clever checksums and do all sorts of kind of things to make sure that could never recur. And there's still actually a public, root cause analysis document you can search for if you search for it, and you'll just look for S3 outage 2008, and you'll get all the gory details. That's probably my, I don't know whether it's favorite or least favorite example.
Did you help fix the problem?
So I was just new when that joined, so I wasn't really part of fixing.
A fire there,
I wasn't quite part of fixing that directly, but I did A lot of the lessons that we learned in that event are things that I, as a principal engineer, have had to work with a lot of other services and teams and making sure that we have the same safeguards in place and making sure something like that could never happen again.
Right.
This is a great question. How did AWS avoid it happening again? From Fire Drake.
So in that, for that specific event, what was happening was, there was a single bit was being corrupted, and we just didn't have the right level of checksumming for that data, and we added a checksum, and that's quite a simple fix, and that's something we do as standard practice everywhere now. But we also did a much deeper analysis too, and kind of more look at the whole system. What else could we fix? And we made a really big decision that when we added our second region, Dublin, that we wouldn't just connect it to our first region, that they just wouldn't be seamless, that we would have some kind of tight barriers between the regions that would prevent problems like that spreading. And we still have that today. S3 in any given region doesn't really know about S3 in any of the other regions.
Right.
And if there's a problem, it should stay contained to one region. And that works really, really well. And that's how deep we went.
Yeah, and that's super important for our customers to understand that we say even internally with our services, everything fails all the time, right? So we have to make sure that we're architecting our applications to be designed to handle that failure, whether it's around intra-region deployment across availability zones or across regions as well, because even our services, as we've seen, can encounter these various events that we've obviously got to rectify and obviously learn from it so it doesn't actually happen again.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time focusing on that.
Yeah, because we look at cause of error and we do a real deep dive on those type of events, right?
Yeah, if we have any kind of problem or operational event, we do a full root cause analysis process that we call corrections of error.
Right.
And we really dig into what happened, why, and what are we doing to fix it.
Right.
And we track.
And prevent it from happening again.
Yeah, we track every action item until resolution. Right. And generally, any action items or anything we need to do to fix a problem takes priority over, say, new features or something else that we might be working on.
Right. So of all the services you've worked on, what's your favorite?
I was going to ask him that question.
That's tough. There is a special place for Amazon Route 53 just because I was there right from the beginning.
Yep, awesome.
I have a question. So, we talked about how distributed the teams are. What happens when one service actually affects integration of another service? Like, our services often communicate with each other to do certain things. So how do the teams effectively communicate when they're so distributed?
In 10 seconds or less, because we've got to wrap up.
We use APIs.
Right.
We have documentation.
Decoupling, right? Decoupling and APIs. Great. Well, thanks to our listeners out there for tuning in. And Com, thank you very much for the insights. It's always very interesting to hear about the inner workings of our services and being able to share that with our customers.
Thank you so much. We'll be back with more content very soon. Bye.